what is one of the biggest lies about happiness that we've been taught by movies or sold that simply isn't true? And don't give it to me. I want you to answer this time. What's a lie that you used to believe about being happy that you know now is just completely false? And how did you shift your awareness and reality about that to redefine happiness?
Well, I think the lie that I was taught is that Coca-Cola would bring me happiness, or McDonald's would bring me happiness. These stories and narratives, I mean, it's called a happy meal. And I think that plays into the narrative and lie that I grew up with, and I think many of us did, is that happiness is something outside. Happiness is something that we get from a product, that we get from a company, that we get from someone else. And the truth that I've found is that, happiness is self-generated. Happiness is the neurochemistry of oxytocin, serotonin in my own heart field, of which I can connect with in any moment, and then share that with friends, share that with family, and that we actually have the capacity to generate that without anything else.
Easily said, but maybe more challenging to actually embody. What's something about your life that you can look back on and say, wow, at that moment, it was so hard for me to see it as a new understanding of happiness. But now you can see it exactly for what it is. Simplistically asked, what is something in your life that you thought would make you happy that didn't? And how can you see it now as pure perfection?
Man, I mean, it's a long list.
Well, what's one that floats up first?
I thought success would make me happy, and it didn't. And that was hard to swallow, because so much of my identity was wrapped up in the idea that, me getting out of that mining town and being successful enough to do that and getting the notoriety in my industry would make me feel happy. And it didn't. It solved some problems, but it didn't solve the problem of happiness, because it's a distinctly different skill set, which then was perfect, because it then led me to finding the teachers and mentors and guides that supported me to come to greater and greater and greater levels of internal self-sovereignty.
So it was the fitness space. You were a very successful bodybuilder. I mean, it's on the screen right now, a picture of him. Like, you're chiseled. Did that fuel that got you there constitute of anger? Or was there anything else besides trying to prove?
I mean, that was anger and trying to prove.
Was there anything else, or that was it? Just anger and trying to prove?
I mean, there was the positive element there is I still love the gym. I mean, we were talking about the gym the other day. There was an element of empowerment inside of that. And empowerment's beautiful. I mean, I want empowerment for everyone. But again, empowerment from the foundation of I'm not good enough, I'm not safe enough, I'm not loved, is not the right foundation. Now, if you got the foundation right, and you're building that foundation of enoughness, of self-respect and self-love, and then you have the things, whether it be fame or money or success. I'm for all of those things for anyone. Who wouldn't want that for their children, their friends, their family? I mean, yes. However, the place that it's coming from is what's most important.
So when you were essentially broken, or we've heard this phrase many times, dark night of the soul, someone gets to their knees and prays to God in some way.
Yeah.
You were faced with this question. It was like, am I going to stay in my fitness business for 2-3 more years and make a bunch of money and exit? Or am I going to do something that's aligned with my soul? Most people that are on the lower vibrational aspect would be like, take the money and run, y'all. Take the money with your fitness business and run. But you said no. You left, I don't know how much money it was a significant amount of money on the table. And you said, no, I'm going to go the path of actually listening to who I am and my soul. Does that still feel real, the power of conviction in your body in this moment, as it did back then? And can you share that story?
More so. It was the best decision I ever made in my life.
How much money did you leave on the table?
3.2 million. Yeah.
Somebody's watching right now going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You left 3.2 million on the table? Why?
Because I recognized that, in order for me, it was like there was a choice moment, and I think we all get these choice moments in our life, that if I wanted to go take that, like grab that big pot of money, then it would mean saying no to the opportunities that were opening right in front of me. I mean, I just met my first mentor and his wife, Preston Smiles, Alexi Panos, you might be familiar with them.
Yeah.
And I was surrounded by just incredible people who were starting to really inspire me and show me a new way of being. And that was emerging in my life. So I was getting invited places. There was opportunity, albeit very early, that was starting to seed, that was starting to show that if I go this way, and I could feel it, other things are going to unfold for you. However, there was a huge part of me being like, I've just spent my whole life, or at least the last 5 years,
$3.2 million, y'all.
Yeah, and it's right there. But I could feel that if I chose that, I'd be choosing everything else that goes with that. I'd be choosing coming back there to the, relationships that were there, to the patterns that were there, or I could let that go and trust myself enough that no matter how much money we make, no matter what we make, that's never going to be enough. What's actually more important than that when it comes to sovereignty is actually having the capacity to be able to do that again. Because if we give someone $10 million, $100 million, but we don't teach them how to do it, they're not going to feel very comfortable with that. They're either going to blow it, spend it, or grasp it really tightly.
Yeah.
But if we learn that it's actually, we teach someone, whether that be others or ourselves, how to generate, because the real resource is resourcefulness. And I recognize, okay, cool, I've done that before. I mean, I did great things in my gaming. I've done great things here. Can I just trust myself to walk this new path and recognize that the resources are right here?
How have you cultivated, this is an interesting question for anyone that's lost in their purpose right now. How have you cultivated the aspect of your awareness that allows future success that's not physically present yet to be seen? In other words, how do you have these deep premonitions about what will be successful? How have you cultivated that specific awareness inside of yourself? I think that could really help people that are lost.
Well, I think it goes back to that story we were talking about before when I was 14. I recognized that when I follow the things that I love and that I'm actually passionate about, of which the field of transformation is one of them. I mean, the hypnosis was weaving in back there. There are, deeper experiences that I had growing up as a teen that we've not talked about, but that thread was there my whole life, and fascinated with, psychology and human consciousness and the planet and nature and God, the universe, and deeply passionate about it, even when everyone wasn't, and it was weird to talk about these types of things. And I knew that even though other people can't see it, there is something incredible emerging here in this field. And it's still emerging. I mean, we're a decade in. Your show's been around a decade.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen the changes in terms of what's happening here in the field, the popularization of the inner work. It's
profoundly.
Yeah. I mean, it's on, we're talking major news networks talking about it. We're talking about, all the biggest podcasts in the world are talking. I mean, it's like, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening. And just like when I was 14 years old, I got a sense internally, like intuitive, wow, I was like, I kind of sensed then, okay, gaming is going to be a real thing. It was early, no one else could see it. And I have the same feeling right now and I have for some time, that with the, let's just call it inner tech, encompassing all of it, is going to be huge. It's going to be the most important part of our lives in many ways, because in order to transition from where we are now as a planet into where we are going, this emotional, psycho-spiritual literacy has to come online so that we can make this leap from separate self individuals, upon which all of that which comes with that, the depression, the disconnection, the lack of purpose, the lack of meaning, all of those different things are all intertwined with that. So we have to learn how to solve this so that we can mature as individuals, as people, as communities, as families, and then also as a planet.
If you love that video, you'll love the one on the screen right now. Click the one on the screen and enjoy.